I'm not on it. I'm always like this for you now.
First take yourself.
You think I was some sort of celebrity? Can't take 3. No, Jodie, get it together. It's just a story.
I've never seen ghosts. It's supposed to be the haunted room. Are you getting that smiley face? Hello everybody. This week we're going to do a dedicated episode to the castle. Before we progress with this YouTube and I show you the planning permission for the castle and all of the difficulties with that and hopefully the construction, we want to give you a little bit of background. So let's progress and I want to show you inside. Right, to make this easy, what I want to try and do is break the building down into 3 wings. We've got south, middle and north. So south wing and middle both have a staircase. As you can see behind me, this is the grand staircase. This is the one in the main foyer for everyone to see. The south wing has a timber staircase and the north wing is a ruin, but I can talk you through all of that. The rooms change dramatically to the staircases and that's why I'm talking about it. The south wing, they're much smaller, a little bit more conservative for those times, not now, they're still huge. This centre wing, the middle, grand, high ceilings, big rooms, and the north wing, you can only see what was there, but we'll have an idea. So I'll start and talk you through it. So now you join me in the south wing. There's 3 floors. The rooms are exactly the same layout, exactly the same size on every floor. And it's a different style and a different feel to the middle and the north. The windows are smaller, the rooms are smaller, albeit the ceilings are a bit lower, but I think this was more bedrooms, staff accommodation if it was needed. As you can see, it's not that bad inside. In the last 5 years, I've noticed a big change. I think it started to deteriorate a fair bit. It's still not as bad as the outside of the building. And inside always held its own. I was always active every year, get round it, sweep it out, check for water ingress. And we've got bits, ceilings coming down. But as a whole, a lot of the original fabric of the building is intact. This is a timber staircase, and we intend to keep this and the main one. Structural engineers had a look over them. He seems to be okay with it. But the staircase is obviously pivotal in the layout of each wing. So the rooms that face directly south, we've got 2 here, but I think these have been bedrooms, being that the south facing, they held a bit of heat from the sun a bit better. Some of the issues that we've got with the castle being left in a dormant state for the last 40 years, longer, pigeons. Can't keep them out. We've got 3 glass domes. They do fly into them and smash the glass so they can get in, because the glass is just single pane, obviously ancient. I keep all of the windows covered with like a chicken wire so they can't get in, but they do find nooks and crannies. Water ingress is the next thing. When they smash a window, I do get water coming through the glass domes. I try and be fairly proactive with the roof though, as there was a lot of money spent on that in the late 80s. So I'm around cleaning out the gutters, seeing where the water might be getting in and checking for slates that could be off. Buildings in the centre and the south are so structurally sound. It's not a lot of hassle, it's just maintaining it, keeping an eye on it, and it's good for wet days when we're working outside and things ground to a halt. I keep my guys busy coming in here. How do I feel about the project? Scared, scared. I grew up in this building, not living in it, but playing in it, knocking around in it with my friends. So I've kind of got the blinkers on. I could be pretty naive, to be honest, thinking that it's gonna happen. I anticipate this to be my Everest in my working career. It'll take everything I've got. But I really had to get to this point in life where I had the experience, the contacts, the money, everything as a whole to face something as big as this. And I speak to people that knew me as a kid who've went on to do exceptional things in their life and understand facing big projects, and I'll talk to them about it and they'll say, isn't that quite big, Jamie? Isn't that a fair thing to be doing? And they're the sort of conversations that give me a little bit of a shiver, because to come from a person with that sort of calibre that knows the whole process, but I can't stop, I have to have a go at it. It will haunt me forever if I don't. And we always took it as our responsibility to try and do something with the castle. This is the lift. Have a look at that. Obviously the pulley wheels there. This was the rope. It's locked solid at the bottom. This was fetching food, bed sheets, whatever was needed for the staff that worked in the building. This is the last part of the castle that was actually inhabited when we bought this place. In 1979, my parents bought this, and there was an American lady and a retired actress living in one room with tarpaulins over the roof because they'd sold the lead, they were skinned, and she had an Aga. So this is the room. You can still see all the plumbings for the Aga, and I presume the floor was smashed out because of the Aga. Whether it was to get it out or not, I don't know. I don't know if she was trying to save on the electric bill. It's like something off Only Fools and Horses when he sold the railway paint to the guy with the restaurant. This was the last room that was lived in, and you can see why. These were the smaller rooms in the castle. She could see who was coming in and out, and she could get downstairs quicker if she needed to be. But I still cannot understand how a woman, 70-odd-year-old, 78, 9-year-old, lived in here on her own in 10-acre grounds in a castle that was meant to be haunted. Don't know if I would be doing it. Do I believe in ghosts? I've never seen ghosts in here. I've heard them. I heard a dinner party, and I could hear conversations, and I could hear knives and forks and cutlery, but I've never seen anything. I used to hang around in here on Halloween when I was a child, thinking I would see a ghost, but it didn't happen. While we're in this south wing, these are the sort of rooms I get excited about developing. They're not the hardest layout, everything's pretty good, everything's good condition. A lot of the windows actually have come back okay from the survey, and we want to try and keep a lot of the original shuttering if we can. This is the 4th floor, the only room on the 4th floor. This is what would be like the penthouse, if you will, suite when we developed this. So it is the top floor in the centre wing, and it's the top floor of what would be the foyer entrance beneath in the main double doors. This is fed by the staircase from the south wing. And all of this, when we bought it, had water ingress. So we had to strip all of the plaster, all of the floorboards. We've still got the joists in, and we've just ply sheeted over the top of them and framed it out to make it safe. But as you can see above, that's a fairly fresh roof, and that was us. Well, Jodie's granddad. You can hear the pigeons. That's good. This will be like your main view out, and what would have looked at the Arboretum in the main grounds of the castle. Some of these rooms you see straight down the coast, you see the Cheviots, you see the borders, the views are just exceptional. We're in the centre wing, as you can see above me, a lovely big glass dome, so things are a lot lighter, a lot more airy, the rooms are bigger, and we've got this cantilevered staircase. Middle wing, which would be the room above the main foyer, so we've already done the penthouse suite. This will be the one beneath. Exactly the same layout again as the one above, it's much like the south wing. There's not a lot you can really do with that. You've got a little room on each corner and then like an oval shape in the middle. I think this floor, which will be the 3rd floor, was the Chinese room, and it had full Chinese curtains, wallpaper, fireplace. It must have been the thing of that period as part of the British Empire. Now there's a few special rooms in this place, but this one is the one that comes with the most history. It's supposed to be the haunted room. As you can see, higher ceilings, bigger rooms, bigger layout. So these rooms lend themselves to a little bit more grandeur. This one especially can have an ensuite bathroom. But this is the haunted room. This is the room that we were told the stories about staff that worked in here. They used to leave the door locked and come back in the morning, and all of the furniture would be outside on the staircase with the door still locked, and nobody had been here. Right, on this central part of the building, you've obviously got your oval part, which is the main foyer, and the rooms just go straight up, same layout, and there's a reason for that, and we'll lead to that in a minute. But towards the west side of this central part. This is in a little bit of decay. These are rooms I don't go in. I don't go on the floors. I don't trust them. The ceilings were in before we bought it. Don't know if you can see. I'll put a torch on the movement in that door frame. So there is reason to be nervous. We're going to go down to the second floor. As I said, there's a reason why there's only a room and a room at the north east side of this building. I'm going to show you it now. This main staircase and this room I'm going to show you are the ones I want to open up to the public when this building's fully developed. Now we're in the music room. This is the reason why there is no rooms on the third floor above. This two-story room goes straight up to a glass dome, and it's obviously curved for the acoustics. As you can hear, there's a fair echo. It's got a number of false doors, a number of real doors, but everything is symmetry and all about the noise. Now we are in the west room on the middle section of the castle. This is, apart from the room above, which I wasn't keen on going on the floor, the only room of elevation that we've got facing the full westerly wind. So I keep these windows boarded up with the original shutters, and I keep them secure to stop any damage, to stop the high winds punishing this building anymore. But this will be the grandest room in the castle. This is the full extent of the large windows, the high ceilings, the even bigger doors, and yeah, special. Now we're in the dining room. This room is accessed from the main staircase and also from the music room. It's a mirror image of the room we've just been in. Back down to ground floor of the middle section of the building. But there's one thing I wanted to show you now. This is what was the cellars. My little boy calls this the dungeons. Oh. Refrigerators, food was prepped here, stored here. But in the 1920s, it's rumoured that when famous actors from America used to come here for parties, the previous owners used to spend £1,200 a night on booze. Now, I've never touched these, we've never touched these. But what is that in these bottles? Look at that one there. Is it tequila? Is that a worm that's swelled up? Are these the old onion bottles that I've heard about? By the shape of them, or they're not big enough? But they must have had some parties in this place. This building has had many stages. It started in the 1100s and it's been add-ons since. So this was one of the rooms that was part, we think, through the archaeological digs, tests, history that we've done, that this is one of the original rooms of what was then a peel tower. My mum and dad found that fireplace when we started the works in the 1980s. It was hidden behind plaster and it's viewed as medieval. So that's what gives the indication that this was one of the first parts of the building. We are securing some of these walls with acro props because this leads onto the north wing, which is the ruin. So we're just keeping it safe at the minute. Now you join me in what we think was the kitchen. And you can see by the stonework, there's been a lot of changes, a lot of add-ons in here. I think the stonework always tells a story of the history of the building. We've smashed up the floor when we first got here. We put electricity in. There's no lights or anything like that. It's just facilitated. It's there if we need it. Right, this is the southwest wing of the building. The room was stripped. All of the floors were stripped. This has been like this since I was a kid. I've never known anything different. I think the above rooms were bedrooms and they were fed from the main staircase. I understand there was a laboratory in one of them from a previous owner of the castle. We read that in some of their memoirs. And this would have been for staff, again, another oven. and access straight onto the courtyard, where at that time this place was an estate. It had 14 farms. Meat would be prepared and brought to the building, all of the vegetables brought in this door here, and then obviously staff would look after it. This is the auxiliary staircase that leads up to both the music room and what we would think was living room, dining room in the west wing of the centre building. Obviously, because the kitchens were here, if there was dining going on upstairs, the staff could be up and down pretty quick. The other side of the building has the lift. It was always, as I've understood it, like layout had to have functionality as well as grandeur.
Yeah.
Do customers care about it? Is that one of the first things they ask? Oh, what's happened with the castle? Is that?
Yeah,
They love the story.
They love the story of it, the history of it. But yeah, there's so much history in that castle as well, and I think it's really interesting. And people will come by, even just passing, just to take pictures of it, won't there? And
Yeah.
so it's the customers do care a lot, and I think they care a lot about what's going to be done with it as well.
We want to know it's going to be done with taste, like to go and how the park is with the feeling already, so they know it's going to be the same kind of clientele that's going to be coming.
My granddad actually worked on the castle roof. He'd done all the work on the castle roof before I even met Jamie. He was really good friends with Headley, Jamie's dad. And my dad, as a young man, he was working with my granddad at the time, so he actually played a part in the roof as well. So that's really nice to know that they both had an impact as well. Now Jamie and I are obviously married, so I mean, it's definitely scary in terms of cost. It's gonna swallow a lot of money, isn't it? But it's worth it. It needs to be brought back to life because it's such a beautiful building, and it's just a shame to see it.
And I think any development's quite exciting as well, because you get to see from start to finish.
Right, we're back in the office. That was a brief tour for anyone that watches this, to give you a little bit of background and an idea of the layout of the castle and its state. To give you an insight on how things might progress, we are obviously in full planning at the minute. So there's 2 planning applications in. One is listed building consent. Obviously it's list 2 star and it's on the register of risk. And then actual layout and development and change of use of the castle. So there's 2 planning applications that were submitted at different times, but the council's moved them to work in tandem through the whole process. Depending on how planning goes will determine how the project goes. And then beyond that, how will I develop it and how will I fund it? So, as I spoke about, I want to open up certain sections of the castle to the public. That would be the double doors in the centre wing where the main foyer is, onto the grand staircase and the music room. And the rest of the building would be broken into sections where we would have a 1-bedroom flat or a 2-bedroom flat, and they would be for self-catering accommodation. The north wing, it's a ruin. We can't access that, but we intend to build a steel structure within that wall to retain and support the wall, as it's weak at the minute and it's been supported by scaffolding, and then build a structure within that. On the plans it says it's a house, but it's for the same purpose. It's self-catering accommodation. The funding of this, to go back to that, whether it's grants for the public areas. Beyond that, what I have a return on, I would look to try and fund that myself. That's why likes and subscribing is so important to these videos, that if we can gather enough interest and I'm not too boring on the camera, that sort of money could assist us in the redevelopment of the castle and the bookings and how the accommodation would actually work. The time scale, I think minimum we are in planning for a year. Then we've got to assess the conditions to what degree they are and what we have to do before we can start. And then the project itself, once I've got the funds in place, I'd anticipate a 2-year block. Whether we can pick off the whole thing in one go or we've got to do it in sections, again comes back to the conditions and the difficulties in the job. But I would really like to do it in one go if I had the money. And the reason for that, I think, is cost. To have men on site, to have time allocated, a project manager, whether I'll be involved in that, but to allocate someone to oversee costings, QS, everything that we might need.
And then we end it.
Right, before we end this video, here's a few clips of some of the things we've been up to since our last video. Craig kindly took the camera when I was away for a couple of days, so I hope you're not too disappointed. Roll it.
Everyone.
Good morning. We're going to be moving some vans. 3 vans this morning.
3 vans this morning. There's one already here and it's about to leave. It's just going onto the van now. We're going to try and keep this short and sweet because we're not very good at this type of thing. And Jamie's away on holiday loving it up somewhere. So
the first van's about to be loaded up.
Yeah, so you're stuck with us the next couple of days. We're going to try and keep the moves on video if we can. But it might not be as good as Jamie. Because
the van's going away, and it's be back within an hour to pick up the salad one.
Yeah, so we're in a bit of a rush. Tuesday morning, and this is the first van going away now. This is us just getting ready to take the van off now.
Well, it's been another successful day.
Right guys, thank you for watching this week's episode. If you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, Jodie's told me to say that.
He needs more followers.
I need more followers. How many have I got? 100?
Yeah, we're getting there.
Yeah, getting there. So again, if you wouldn't mind liking and subscribing, see you next time.